Welcome. In this explainer, we're going to go way beyond the basics of fungible coins and NFTs. We're looking at the next evolution, how tokens are transforming from just static digital assets into these dynamic, programmable tools that are seriously shaking up both DeFi and the real world.
So, if you're already in the weeds with ERC20s and ERC 721s, the big question on your mind is probably what's next? I mean, we've pretty much figured out simple value transfer and digital ownership. So where does the real innovation happen now? All right, let's jump right in. We're going to start in the heart of DeFi, where these advanced token standards are making some really sophisticated and efficient strategies possible. We're going to focus on ERC 1155 and see how its design is totally changing the game for things like concentrated liquidity. Okay, so the secret sauce here is its hybrid nature. You know, older standards could only handle one type of asset at a time. ERC 1155, though, it can bundle fungible and non-fungible tokens together in one single contract. And that's not just a small tech upgrade. It's the very foundation that unlocks a whole new level of powerful and super efficient financial products. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because these features directly solve some of the biggest headaches for liquidity providers. That ability to batch operations, it means huge savings on gas. But the real game changer, in my opinion, is the programmability. This turns what used to be a static LP position into a dynamic, intelligent agent that's constantly working for you. And here's exactly how it works in practice. Imagine setting up a liquidity position that doesn't just sit there. Instead, it's actively watching the market. Prices move, bam, it automatically rebalances your range to make sure you're always in the most profitable spot. It even takes the fees you earn and reinvests them for you. We're talking about true set-it-and-forget-it automated yield optimization, all thanks to a smarter token standard. Now, let's pivot a bit, because all this cool programmability we're seeing in DeFi, it's starting to get applied to physical assets and regulated markets. The same exact ideas, adding intelligence and function to tokens, are now being used for things you can actually, touch. Think about something like a supply chain. A basic NFT can prove where a product came from, sure. But what happens when that product is built from a dozen different parts? This table kind of shows that evolution. If you look at the modifiability row, for example, a dynamic smart NFT can actually be updated as the product changes state. That's absolutely critical for tracking a complex assembly process from start to finish. And this evolution doesn't stop there. It goes straight to the heart of traditional finance. Security token offerings, or STOs, are basically real-world assets like stocks or bonds, just represented as a token on the blockchain. This is a huge deal. By using the blockchain's efficiency, STOs can slash trade settlement times from days down to minutes, which cuts down on risk and frees up a ton of capital. Which, of course, brings us to the central conflict in this entire space. You've got this incredible, permissionless innovation on one side, and on the other, you have the very established world of financial regulation, not to mention the very real technical risks like smart contract bugs that come with building in this world. This quote from SIFMA, which is a major voice for the securities industry, really sums up the regulatory point of view perfectly. Their main job is to protect investors and keep markets stable. So when they look at the wide-open, permissionless nature of DeFi, they see a potential threat to the safeguards that have been built up over decades. It's no wonder they're telling policymakers to hit the brakes. And here's that clash laid out plain and simple. DeFi is all about being open, peer-to-peer, permissionless. Regulators, they need checks and balances, things like know your customer rules, anti-money laundering policies, and clear accountability. These two philosophies are just fundamentally at odds, and figuring out how to bridge that gap is one of the biggest challenges facing tokenization today. And hey, let's not forget, it's not just about regulations. The tech itself has its own risks. A bug in a smart contract isn't a small problem. It can lead to a complete and total loss of funds. We've all seen it happen. Governance systems can be hijacked. And even with the best security audits in the world, the fact that code is law means a single tiny vulnerability can bring down an entire protocol. Okay, so with all those challenges, how do we move forward? Well, the next major evolution isn't really about creating a new kind of asset. It's about rebuilding the very foundation of how we interact with the blockchain, solving the huge problems of user experience and identity that are really holding back mass adoption. And that brings us to ERC 337, or account abstraction. Honestly, this is a massive leap forward. It basically separates what you want to do from the complex mechanics of how a transaction actually gets executed. Instead of you signing every little thing with a private key, your wallet sends what's called a user operation. Then, bundlers package these up and execute them on-chain for you. This opens the door for incredibly flexible and powerful smart contract wallets. So, for everyone here who's deep into staking, lending, or yield farming, this is what you've been waiting for. It's absolutely transformative. But here's the key thing to get. You will never encounter ERC 4337 as a token you can buy or sell. It's the engine under the hood of your wallet that finally makes DeFi feel intuitive. Imagine setting a rule to auto-harvest your yield rewards and redeposit them without you ever signing a transaction, or setting up an automated dollar-cost averaging strategy. This is the tech that makes all that possible. Now, along with that better user experience, we also need a better way to handle identity. That's where soul-bound tokens, or SBTs, come in. They're non-transferable tokens that basically act like on-chain credentials. A DAO, for instance, could give SBTs to its most active members, granting them more voting power. This helps create a system where reputation and contribution actually matter. So let's put it all together. When you combine the programmability of tokens like ERC 1155 with the incredible user experience that account abstraction unlocks and the verifiable identity that soul-bound tokens provide, the whole landscape just completely changes. The question isn't if we can tokenize complex real-world systems anymore. The real question is, what's going to be first?